Hey everybody! Just a quick reminder, these stories aren't always public perfect conversation. I do use a lot of strong language in here, and I talk about some things that aren't always necessarily pleasant to hear. But I hope you still enjoy it. Also, please don't forget to check me out on everywhere you can find music and other podcasts. Mostly, follow me on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can get ad-free content, 24 hours early access to episodes, and for $3 a month, you get the options of having community chats with me and some of the other fans. For $5 a month, you get voting powers on any changes I want to run through the fans. You also get priority requests and suggestions, live Q&As, community chats, one-on-one chats with me personally, either through messages or through calls, and maybe we can even set up a time to be a guest on the show. And of course, that's in addition to everything from the lower tiers. I'm planning on doing more with the community as it grows. With that being said, let's get into the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Story from Behind the Counter, and as always, I am your host, Alpha. Before we get too far into the episode, I do want to say one thing. I know I kind of beat this like a dead horse sometimes, I've been told by a couple of fans, but if I don't keep pushing this, the show isn't going to grow. Please make sure that even if you don't come over to my Patreon, wherever you're listening, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, Castbox, wherever, please make sure you're interacting with the show. Follow it, like it, comment, subscribe, whatever you can do. It helps the algorithm, it helps my show grow, and it helps kind of get it out there a little bit more. I do appreciate all the listeners, and I love seeing when we get new listeners from new areas. It's really amazing. So I'm glad I can reach out to somebody who really likes this. I really hope we can keep pushing this forward a little bit more. Maybe get to talk to some of you guys someday, but that requires you guys to reach out to me too. I'd love to hear from you. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the episode. This episode is all stories from other people who listen and wanted to share some of their stuff. This first story is going to be from, well, we'll call him Rudy. Rudy writes in and says, I was working at a cell phone department in a big store one time. It was about 12 years ago or so. Anyways, I was opening this day, which I rarely did. I was normally the closer, which, that being said, I was kind of tired since that wasn't my normal schedule. One of our reps for a specific cell phone company came in early as well, so we were going over stuff and just kind of joking around. Unbeknownst to me, there was another customer trying to check out with another employee behind me. I later learned that his card kept getting declined. When he had given up, he came around to where I was, and he said, come here, I want to tell you something. So I obliged, and I went over to him. When I got to him, he said, come closer, and he gestured with his finger. I thought it was strange, but being tired, like I mentioned, my judgment was not the best. As I got closer, he grabbed the lanyard around my neck that had my name tag, and he cocked his fist back like he was going to punch me. I jumped back, and the lanyard broke away from the clip. I immediately jumped around the corner, and I was ready to fight back. The lady that was originally helping the guy told me, please don't hurt him. Apparently, he had had a few too many drinks. At 8 in the morning. Anyways, I backed down. The guy walked away, and it wasn't worth my job to pursue the fight with this older, apparently drunk man. The other employee that had attempted to ring him up told me that while I was joking around with the rep, the customer thought I was making fun of him and his card getting denied, even though I had no idea what was going on. This is just one more reason why I did not like opening shift. This is me speaking as Alpha. Yeah, I've had a couple of those people too come in 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They're already 9 sheets to the wind. I don't know how it works in most states. I know the state that I personally live in, it is only illegal to sell alcohol between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Once 6 a.m. hits, it's legal for alcohol to be sold. But that also leaves plenty of time for people to stock up, drink all night, and then go out and about during the morning. It amazes me how and why people are able to do that, but hey, at this point, I have learned just not to focus on it. Luckily enough, that did not escalate though, and I'm very happy that you didn't have to fight some drunk old man at work and lose your job. That is always a plus. This is story number 2 from Moody. He said, "This is probably one of my favorite stories. Definitely a you had to be there kind of story, but I'll do my best. Here I was, working at a manufacturing plant that made reloading equipment. I was a CNC operator and ran about 3 to 4 machines at the time, depending on the demand for things. This particular story takes place during the summer, which is important to know. Like a lot of manufacturing plants, this place had swamp coolers, but no air conditioning inside. So it got pretty warm during the summer. I was also working the weekend shift, which is 5 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Friday through Sunday. On that Monday, we were supposed to have some sort of higher ups that were normally at the plant come for a visit. So, like most middle management, they wanted the shop nice and clean. Another employee who normally works the weekday shift, Monday through Thursday, came in for some overtime and to try and help make sure things were clean and set up. Fast forward to about midday. I had just finished cleaning one of the fans we used to attempt to keep cool. Another coworker was still cleaning something, can't quite remember what, but he asked if I could go grab some rags for him. So I'm walking over to get some rags, and all of a sudden I hear this pounding sound. I can't quite figure out where it's coming from, and none of the machines were actually running since everyone was cleaning. So I stopped and I listened for a little bit, and I heard it again, followed by a muffled sound. I started to walk near the machine that I thought it was coming from, and I heard banging again, followed by a muffled, "Help! Help!" Now I'm rushing to the machine. When I get to it, I see the employee that had come in for some overtime stuck in the machine. He had apparently climbed in to clean the inside of the door. However, there are special locks on the door that need power to unlock them. And while trying to be safe, the employee cut the power to the machine before he got in. So I'm trying to figure out how to get him out. And during all of this, the coworker that I was getting rags for saw what was going on and came over to help. He was also a CNC operator with years more experience than me. By about the time that he gets to the machine, 2 managers and, of course, the safety coordinator walk by. Perfect timing. So now they are all coming over. One of the managers is asking questions, trying to figure out how we can get the door open without powering on the machine. My coworker explains that, well, you can't. We need to power the machine on. The manager is very against this, but my coworker tells him, again, there is no other way. After a little bit of back and forth, my coworker ignores the manager and tells the employee inside the machine, "All right, get ready. I'm turning this on." After the power was restored to the machine, we were able to open the door and get him out. He was soaked in sweat. It looked like someone had hosed him down. Now, the "you had to be there" part of it is why the story is funny, because the employee that got stuck inside. Without the story doubling or tripling in length, I'll just say he was a know-it-all and a little bit of a suck-up, and I'll leave it at that. However, he was very lucky. Since it's not a shift he normally works, no one would have expected him to be there, and if he passed out in the machine, which I'm sure he was close to doing, it would have been very easy for someone to boot the machine up and get it running, and he could have been seriously injured or maybe even killed. So he's lucky I just happened to be walking by needing some rags. This is me speaking as Alpha again. Well, I definitely understand what you're saying. He's very, very lucky from the sounds of it. But at the same time, I do believe in cosmic karma and cosmic justice. Sometimes that's a good way for people to learn their lesson when they tend to be the people most people don't like at work. Hopefully it calmed him down a little bit. Thanks for your story, Rudy. I hope to hear more soon. All right, this next story is actually from someone who just wants to stay completely anonymous, so that's how we're going to do it. During COVID, I was running orders out to cars. The online order pickup was obviously becoming a big thing at that point. I approached a woman. She had her driver window cracked, asked her how may I help her, and she began screaming like a Looney Tune, slamming her hands on the window, then screaming for me to get away. So I turned around and went back into the store. Well, this gets better. Next thing, I'm walking back toward the break room, and I see my ASM. He's on the phone, trying not to laugh, and motions for me to go to him. Lo and behold, Miss Looney Tunes was screaming at him. I refused to help her. She told me to go away, so I did. This is me speaking as Alpha. Yeah, COVID was such an interesting time. Such an interesting time, especially in retail. Um, hmm. So one of those fever dreams that lasted for a few years that I think we all wish we could forget. But that's honestly, sadly, not the worst story I've heard come out of COVID. Luckily enough, it didn't get too much worse. But at least your manager was on your side. This anonymous listener also has another story. One day I was working up at a service desk. Another wonderful COVID experience. This guy snapped at me, "Are you going to help me or not?" I said, "Sure, what can I help you with?" Well, he flings a piece of paper at me. It falls to the floor and demands, "Fetch my shit." I looked at him, logged off the computer, and I said, "Fetch your own shit." And I walked away. This is me speaking as Alpha again. Yeah, sadly, I can't even just blame that one on COVID. I've had plenty of stuff like that before COVID, after COVID. Sadly, I truly believe 80 plus years of the customer is always right truly has ruined society. I'm pretty sure I've said it before on here. If not, I'm saying it now. The customer is not always right. And because of their entitlement being told so for 80 plus years, it's just part of what's ruined society at this point. People walk in and expect everything immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts, no questions, no arguments, no nothing. They don't want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear reasons. They don't care. Good times. Our listener also says, "I love the after hours construction site thieves. They steal whatever they can get their sticky fingers on and return it to the store with no receipts. A guy tries to return shingles with no receipt. They were mismatched, torn open, and obviously had been on site for some time with faded packaging. Sorry, there's no returns on open shingles. No receipt, no ID, no returns." This is me speaking as Alpha again. I consistently have that argument no matter how many companies are moving toward this idea of, okay, we realize you people are horrible people and trying to push for a no receipt, no return policy. At the same time, a lot of us still get told just take care of the customer. But luckily enough, I know a couple of companies are out there. They use a third party to decide everything. If you have no receipt, we can try and do some returns sometimes. But if the register says no, then the register says no. And they don't like that answer. They always ask for the store manager. And I have to explain, sorry, even if the CEO were in the building, he would not be able to override this decision on the register. Have a good day. One more from our anonymous listener. She says, "When the self checkouts first went live, I was assisting on the front end, and this guy pushed his items into my arms. I set them on the counter and went to hand the scan device to him, and he yells, 'Well, what the hell's this?' I said, 'Well, this is the scan device. This is the self checkout, and I'm assisting your checkout.' He throws his hands up and begins screaming, 'I don't work here.' He smacked his items down to the floor and he stormed out. Boy, sometimes you just can't make this stuff up. This is me speaking as Alpha again. Yeah, again, people are interesting. I don't know what else you can say. especially the older generation. A lot of them do that, but even some of the younger generation raised by others, and that's all I'll leave that at, are even beginning to push back on the whole self check thing, and it's just annoying. Look, guys, self check was not our idea. We didn't put it in there. We didn't decide for it. The companies did. We just have to deal with it. We all have to have a job. We all have to work. Quit taking it out on us. All right, this is the last story from our anonymous listener. She says, when I started to work at the service desk, this woman came in with a laundry basket of clothes. She slams the basket on top of the desk and she asks for a manager. She demanded a reimbursement refund. I looked at her like she was on crack and said, we don't do those. But I called my manager and he came up. I told him what she said and he began talking to her. She told him that one of our associates supposedly told her to spray paint the inside of her dryer to make it look like new. So she did. And once the paint dried, she put her clean laundry into the dryer, and now the paint is on all of her clean clothes. So she wanted the store to reimburse her for the ruined laundry. She couldn't tell the MOD what employee told her to do that, though. Sadly, that's all I really know of the story. This is me speaking as Alpha. I hope that they did not do anything for her. I can't believe that someone actually thought that was a good idea. And the fact that she listened to whoever it was that supposedly told her to do that just amazes me. To me, she's lucky that's all that happened. Depending on the type of paint that she used, even after it dried, it could have caught on fire. It could have caused a lot more issues. But people just don't think at all. I guess, like Forrest Gump would say, stupid is as stupid does. And holy shit, that's stupid. Anyway, moving on to the next story. This one's actually from one of my managers, and I was kind of part of it, but I got to hear more about it from other people after the fact. I'm working at a hardware store. It's a fairly busy day. But a few associates noticed that this lady is acting pretty shady. She's in her late 20s, maybe early 30s, and she's been grabbing very specific things, stopping down an aisle, talking on the phone, sitting down on the floor or on the cart, move to the next aisle, do the same thing. She's very slowly stuffing her cart, but she's putting some tools, toolboxes, storage tubs, all sorts of random shit in her cart. To anyone who's worked retail long enough, it's obviously she's trying to steal. She's got a list of stuff that she wants to get, and she's very slowly getting it, trying to act nonchalant. Sadly for her, she made herself pretty obvious. So we put people on each door. We share her description with everyone in the store, and she's being watched by pretty much everyone. Well, I guess collectively everyone was following her for approximately 2.5 hours, giving her what's called aggressive hospitality to ensure that she gets absolutely everything she needs and helping anyone else in the area along the way. She was pretty much never left alone or out of anyone's eyesight, though. She's trying to find the perfect time and place to bolt out of the door, but we're pretty much not going to let that happen. Obviously, after a while, she caught on and she gets very upset. So she stopped one associate and she said, could you guys make it any more obvious what you're doing? You've got the entire store following me. To which he responded, ma'am, I'm just doing my job. You've been in the same area for a while. And of course, I'm going to pass by you a bunch. This is my department. I don't know what you're talking about. We're all very busy. We're all helping everyone we can. So, I'm sorry? Well, obviously, she didn't like that answer. She cusses him out and walks off. I came out to the same general area to check on one of my cashiers. Make sure they had water and they had their swamp cooler working right, and whatever. They were out in the garden area. It's the middle of summer in the desert. Yes, I'm checking on my cashier very regularly. Well, apparently, she thought I was checking on her more. So the customer stops me and says, I need to talk to you. Okay, Yes, ma'am, how can I help you? As soon as I get over to her, she gets super pissy and she's like, is this how you treat all of your customers? I looked at her with a dumbfounded look on my face and asked, like, what, ma'am? To which she blew up, don't you bullshit me. I know what you're doing. You people need to knock it off. Do you know how much I spend here? This is complete and utter fucking bullshit. I just want to speak to your manager now. Okay, of course, ma'am. Let me see if I can get a hold of them. So I called my ASM and I informed them that a customer wanted to talk to them and that I'd be more than happy to bring them back to the office where my ASM was. As soon as I said that I'd escort her to the office, she blew up again. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you. I know where the office is, you asshole. To which I just responded, right this way, ma'am. My manager's waiting for you. And I walked her all the way back to the office. She was bitching and complaining to my manager for the next probably 30 to 45 minutes. Finally, my manager told her, look, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're stealing or not, following you as long as they have is harassment, and I'm sorry. I'll put a stop to it. My associates should not be doing that. That being said, if we do actually catch someone stealing from here, I personally do have the authority to 86 you from the property, and if I choose so, to call the cops. And he lets her get on her way and continue, quote-unquote, shopping, unbothered. So she goes about her business, grabs a few more things. We're all told, essentially, just stand down. If we see her run out the door, just put it into the theft records, and we'll go from there. We all go about our business. She goes about hers, and eventually she stops in the garden center, where she stopped me originally. She stands there for about another 45 minutes or so, before she finally proves us right and bolts straight out the door. The garden cashier calls, lets us know, we put it in the records, and we move on with our life. This is what I heard from another manager. Less than a week later, the store gets a call from a local company. The owner of the business is telling my boss how he believes two girls at his company are stealing from our store. The manager says, okay, well, can you please explain? The owner of the other business explains that his company's card has been giving him a lot of issues lately. So he's been sending these two young ladies to come in and shop for whatever they need with cash. Now, this has been going on for a couple of weeks. He's going through the accounts just now and realizing they're not turning in any receipts for anything or returning any of the change from what he gives them. He believes they're just pocketing whatever money he gives them and is stealing from us. My boss asks if he has even a roundabout idea of dollar amount or stuff that he was asking for. He estimated probably at least $3,000, if not more, in tools and possibly other stuff. My boss replies, well, that's at least just as much in cash that they've stolen from you as well. You need to call the police, report everything to them, because anything above $700 in theft is considered a felony. Now, we're not sure if he actually did call the cops on these girls or if he just fired them, but I know that if he did decide to press charges on them, those girls have pretty much just completely ruined their life for just a couple of $1,000s. It's sad that people make these decisions and think that nothing will happen to them. Karma really is a beautiful thing sometimes, and sometimes we get to be around to see it, sometimes we don't. The fact that the boss called us to tell us about it, that was awesome. I hope these girls learned their lesson, and I honestly do hope that they had to serve their time in jail. Well, that being said, I think we're going to wrap up this episode. Thanks again for listening, guys. As always, I appreciate everyone who's been listening, and especially those who've been sending me their stories. Again, whatever I call you on the show is all you will ever be known as. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to Denise Esparza from Nisi Art on Instagram. She's the one who's responsible for the thumbnails that you guys see when I upload my episodes. Check her out on Instagram if you want to see what else she can do. I want to give a shout out to Nivation as well for the intro and the outro music that's provided for the show. You can find Nivation on Spotify and on Facebook. Nivation, Denise, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate both of you for helping me keep this going. With all that being said, This is Alpha signing off. Stay fabulous, everyone.